Live from Fox 39 and your home team. Eyewitness News in the Morning starts now.
When you're accountable to this community, you have to be responsible for what you say.
Happening right now at 7, a call for Rockford's police chief to resign. The agency some want him to face in the controversy surrounding what to do next.
And new overnight, protesters plan to hit Rockford streets for the 7th time, the group's most recent demand, and the information we're expected to learn today and later.
It doesn't matter the location, right? Pull out the plastic chairs. We're going to show you an opera house performing for a whole lot of people. That's social distancing for you. I want to give you a live look outside, though, of downtown Rockford. Just a beautiful shot out there as you see the overlook, the Jefferson Street Bridge. We have some traffic actually moving out there. So rare for us, but good morning to you. I'm Whitney Martin. And thanks so much for switching over from WTVO.
It's the little things that matter for us this morning. Just a couple cars driving across the bridge. It's a beautiful start to our day, though. I have to wonder, though, because just last week, Whitney, you said you're all about the 80s, the 90s, the hot weather. Today, it's a lot chillier out there. I mean, do you prefer one or the other?
I prefer cheaper bills, so I'm okay to turn the air conditioning down. But no, I want the hot temperatures in the summer. The water's too cold.
So you were happy with what we had last week, then?
Yeah, I could take that all summer.
All right. Well, this morning I was pretty happy.
All right. See, it's good. Something for everybody.
Everyone has a little different opinions, but let's go now to meteorologist Joey Marino, because yesterday we had a lot of different weather patterns going through our area. We had the rain, we had the wind. This morning, we're just comfortable out there, Joey.
Yeah, I wasn't really complaining about what we were seeing out there this morning. It did feel a little bit chillier, though. You'll definitely notice that as you take your first step out the door. But plenty of sunshine out there as we take a live look at our SkyTrack camera over Rockford. You can see with satellite and radar, not dealing with any rain this morning or any fog or even any cloud cover out there. We're staying dry this morning with temperatures in the upper 50s and now climbing into the low 60s here in Rockford, 60 degrees, 61 up in Janesville, 58 in Freeport, 61 as well out in Savannah, and 59 in Rochelle. Now, dew points very comfortable as well. We're actually going to be staying in the low to mid 50s this afternoon, so a comfortable day overall. In fact, comfortable stretch of weather in the next 5 days. Comfortable for today, tomorrow, and also into the weekend. We're actually going to not deal with humidity as an issue until the start of next week. Let's take a look at our First Warn interactive radar, showing you that dry start out there. I'll have more on that, plus how cool we're going to get going into the weekend. Whitney?
All right, well, happening right now, a call for action after Rockford's police chief comes under fire for controversial comments made during a May news conference. That soundbite has a lot of people calling for his resignation this morning. Our Alexis Carpello explains why some believe the chief should be held accountable.
The citizens of this community deserve an explanation.
Democratic aldermen in Rockford want to hold Chief O'Shea accountable for the comments he made last month about not wasting the department's time with teens committing violent crimes in the community.
It's not that I dislike him. It's not that I don't want him to be chief. It is that just as I have to give an account of my comments, he should have to give an account of his as well. When you're accountable to this community, you have to be responsible for what you say.
During the meeting, they discussed how they want O'Shea to answer to the fire and police commissioners of the city.
I wouldn't file a complaint with them if they don't see a need to address and have a discussion over the issue. Then, I voiced my opinion, and I went as far as my obligation, my constituents, my complaints that I receive has gone. I addressed the issue.
I don't know if they plan to call him in and say, Dan, this was ill-advised. It was so-and-so. We're going to put a letter of reprimand in your file, or, we admonish you. I don't even know what their different steps are.
Some aldermen think that the mayor's listening sessions will be a step in the right direction.
I think the strategy from the mayor is let's listen and see, and let's find, what other communities are doing, and let's investigate this further. But I think if we take a role right now on what to do, it's way too early.
In Rockford for your home team, I'm Alexis Carpello.
Well, speaking of those listening sessions, by this time next week, we could have a better understanding of what people in our community are going through. We're learning new details this morning about the listening sessions being set up in our city. It's an opportunity for Black residents to share their stories and experiences with law enforcement. The first session going to be June 17th. The 3 others will be the following Wednesdays, each going to be held at the Salvation Army on Rockford Avenue. If you want to speak, maybe you have questions, maybe you just want to listen, you have a chance to do so. Each speaker has about 5 minutes. Everything you need to know at mystateline.com.
Under this morning, another protest expected in Rockford tonight. This will be the 7th demonstration put on by Rockford Youth Activism. Their last protest lasted 14 hours. We, of course, brought it to you live right here on Eyewitness News. Dozens sitting overnight at the Winnebago County Justice Center. That group is calling for police reform and social justice. The protest tonight will start at 5 o'clock. They're expected to announce a location later this morning. Well, that group is already seeing change. New today, Winnebago County Sheriff's deputies will debut their new body cams. By the end of next week, every deputy and corrections officer in the department will have one. We just want to be clear, this isn't in response to those protests. That move has actually been in the works since last September. Sheriff Gary Caruana is saying that decision is part of an effort to improve transparency and accountability within the force.
Well, some believe it's not just about hitting the streets. State Representative Maurice West hoping voter turnout will be higher this year as young people become increasingly politically engaged. He says not enough people realize how important the vote is. West adds that we should head to the polls even when the president is not on the ballot.
People need to realize that 2 years from now, when we are voting for simply Congress or governorship, are equally as important because those are the ones, who are making the laws.
Local leaders say taking part in the census also so important for Rockford's future.
Rockford isn't the only city listening to protester demands. Police departments around the nation now announcing reforms in the wake of George Floyd's death. This morning, one of the former Minneapolis police officers charged in George Floyd's death is out of jail. Thomas Lane posting $750,000 bail as new details emerge about Derek Chauvin, the former cop facing the most serious charges. Prosecutors say before his arrest, Chauvin was considering pleading guilty to civil rights charges into murdering Floyd, but that deal fell apart. In response to demands for the reform, the Minneapolis police chief saying his department is now withdrawing from contract negotiations with the police union. The police union, though, saying officers are unfairly being portrayed as the enemy.
Stop treating us like animals and thugs, and start treating us with some respect.
Well, at least 12 cities and municipalities in the U.S. now starting to ban or have banned the use of chokeholds in policing.
Well, we want to get to the latest on COVID-19. The World Health Organization strongly reminding us the pandemic is not over. During a briefing, the agency urging countries to take steps to reduce the spread within their borders. They say it's up to authorities to consider where they are when it comes to this pandemic. Each part of the world being affected differently. The organization saying they're going to continue to work on public health strategies to suppress and maintain transmission of the disease. There have been more than 7.2 million cases of the virus reported globally and at least 411,000 deaths.
We could learn today whether our local Starbucks is among the locations shutting down during the COVID-19 pandemic. The company is closing some of its traditional cafes and will open more to-go locations. They plan to either close, renovate, or move 400 traditional cafes here in the U.S. and Canada in the next year and a half or so. It'll open as many as 50 locations in the next year and a half. That'll also only provide pickup service. Starbucks says it's looking at New York, Chicago, Seattle, and San Francisco, and other dense urban areas for those shift to pickup locations.
Well, meantime, it sounds like that we can now head back to the movies. At least we will be very soon. The chain's locations at AMC, they've been shut down since March 17th because of the coronavirus outbreak. Movie theaters among the businesses hit the hardest by COVID-19. Last week, AMC releasing a statement saying they had substantial doubts about being able to stay afloat. The company had a net loss of more than $2 billion during the first quarter. And I was saying earlier, I can't even think of the last movie that I've seen in a theater. You're kind of feeling the same way.
I was thinking, honestly, I think it was Jurassic Park, the last one that came out. I think that was 2014, 2015.
It's been that long?
Yeah, it's been that long. I'm not a theater goer, I would say. But I know a lot of friends, though, that this is their common date night, though. You know, they love dinner and a movie, you know, and that's not been able to happen.
I think we like to go out and do things a little bit. I just kind of get bored. I'm just sitting around too. Yes, I feel
not a good movie watching myself. Anyways, well, it's time now. It's 7:10. The show must go on. Famous theater overseas now premiering their latest show with coronavirus restrictions in mind. The way the company just trying to keep guests safe there. Joey?
And yesterday's cold front putting an end to our heavy rain chances here in the state line. A comfortable day ahead. I'll have all that coming up in the forecast.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team, with Whitney Martin, Elliot Grandia, and meteorologist Joey Marino.